Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Nikhil Vasudeva, Rank 1 INI CET November 2020, and I'm here in front of you as promised in my last video with the preparation strategy that I think will be helpful for you guys for the upcoming NEET and as well as the INI exam. So let's get started with it. So first I will focus on those people who have completed their first revision at least and are well versed with all the subjects, and now they are in the final lap of the preparation. So in the next 2 months you have to dedicate your time to revision and revision alone. Along with that, you have to give grand test once or twice every week. So it will be a lot of grand tests. You have to make a lot of mistakes in those grand tests, and you have to not repeat those mistakes in the real exam. So along with that, you have to revise your notes based on the previous year questions. So the previous year questions which you have already done before. You know the topics which come in the exam. When you are revising your notes, you just don't blindly revise the entire thing. You identify that this topic was asked in the exam, and I have to know this topic in depth and in detail. Like hepatobiliary injury in AIIMS exam comes very frequently, so you have to know the Strasbourg classification by heart. If any question comes on that thing, you have to not waste even a single second on that question, और बस मतलब बिल्कुल फिंगर टिप्स पे होना चाहिए वो वाला टॉपिक. एंड अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, ये 1 month या 1 month 10 days में you should be done with this one revision based on the previous year questions. And after that, in the last 15 days, which I think in the first 1 month to 40 days your preparation might differ from other people, but in the last 15 days I think it is more or less the same. Whatever you have consolidated, you have to revise that. What I did in the last 15 days was that I had collected all the questions at one place. I revised them in entirety in 3 days, so that helped me cover a lot of topics. And along with that, I revised my bottom 5 subjects which I had recognized from my analysis in grand test. So you can use either Marrow or DAMS or Bhatia grand test and analyze which are your bottom 4-5 subjects which you are not comfortable with. Most of you must be knowing that you don't know this subject at all. So in those subjects, you revise them in the last 15 days, because if you revise them in the last 15 days, you will be knowing them better than the people who have revised them 1 month back. So it will not be your weaker subject compared to other people. You will definitely definitely have an advantage, and overall there will be no weak subject for you at the time you are appearing for the exam. Okay, so apart from that, I would like to focus on some specific topics for AIIMS exams, AIIMS INI exam, like the recent updates which I think will be covered by most of the institutes. One thing which in particular I found useful was Marrow newsletter. So Marrow newsletter provides all the updates at one place, so that is quite helpful. Apart from that, you have to know all the procedures which are done in the ward, like ABG blood sampling, the order of draw in the blood sampling, and all the tube insertions like Foley's insertions. You have to know about nasogastric tube insertion. It's not just that you have done that and you know it. You have to know the proper procedure, the proper positioning of the patient, all the steps in the sequence. And apart from that, there are some catheters and some images which are specific to AIIMS exam, like Swan-Ganz catheter, Nava catheter, rectal temperature probe. So such things are also specific for AIIMS. You have to look up their images. These things you can find in previous year questions as well as if you look at your practicals in the final prof. So final prof practicals ka jo stuff tha jitna bhi, that will help you cover a lot of things which will come in the exam. For surgery especially, I would like to recommend Ghanshyam Vaidya's videos, which are available free on YouTube. So I will link that in the description, and you can watch those videos. And for surgery practicals, that is more than enough. Those tests, those examination points might be asked in the exam. For medicine, you can follow any book which you followed in your final prof, then that will help you crack 2 or 3 questions easily. And the procedures in the ward you have to learn from the ward itself, and then you have to search on the internet that what is the correct procedure to do in ABG, or you can find it in any guidebook that what is the correct procedure to do in ABG. So that is a very common question which is asked in AIIMS, and most of the people don't know the correct angle at which the needle has to be inserted. All this stuff is very basic yet very important. So apart from that, the elephant in the room, COVID, you have to know the latest AIIMS protocol in depth, and also about the new drugs, the pharmacokinetics and dynamics. When I mean about pharmacokinetics, you have to know the half-life of every drug, the elimination from where how much GFR is required for giving a certain drug, and all of this stuff you have to know in depth. There is no excuse about that this will not be asked about this drug. Anything can be asked. These drugs are so important. And apart from that, mucormycosis is an upcoming topic. So mucormycosis mein the diagnosis part, which I feel is a bit tricky, that they will confuse you between mucormycosis and aspergillosis on histology. The diagnosis consists of nothing but biopsy from the necrotic tissue, and then you take the histological section and see that it is mucor. So on histology they will say what is the most specific sign, what is the most specific for the mucor fungus. See, septae might be absent, absent even in aspergillus sometimes. So the width of the hyphae is the most important point. So some points like this in diagnosis of mucor can be asked, which will be, you have to know about mucor in depth, only then you will be able to answer. And mucor has so many species, so many species, and so you have to know that even these species come under mucor. It is not only that a certain organism starting with mucor name is only in mucor. So many species are there in mucor, and the drugs available for mucor like amphotericin B. You have to know about every preparation of amphotericin B, because every preparation is being used right now, and all the side effects of every preparation, and even the dosage. Like we usually use 3.5 to 5 milligram per kilogram in our wards. So the dosage and what are the side effects of these drugs, the posaconazole, the preparations for posaconazole, mechanism of action of posaconazole, as well as amphotericin B. And one question I would like to ask you guys, you answer in comments, that what is the how to increase the absorption of posaconazole. What should we ask the patient to do to increase the absorption of posaconazole? So if you are able to answer, then you are in a very good position to write the exam. And so this is the level of detail that you have to know about these drugs and COVID. And apart from that, in COVID you have to know about all the vaccinations and even their rare side effects. Like some patients suffer from acute disseminated encephalomyelitis or Guillain-Barré syndrome, or some patients even develop multiple sclerosis or Hashimoto's thyroiditis. So such cases are there. Post-COVID fatigue is a major phenomenon. Studies are going on in AIIMS itself. And other than that, some other procedures which I missed out were intubation. You have to know about all the drugs in intubation. This is also related to COVID only. So many intubations are happening left and right. So the drugs which are used in intubation, the maneuvers, the proper positioning of the patient. 90% of the people don't know the proper positioning of the patient, so they fail at that point only. So the proper positioning for the patient, everything about the intubation you have to know in detail. So the pointers which I gave you were the drugs, the proper position, the sequence of the steps. This was asked in one AIIMS exam previously also. So and in intubation you also have to know about the cuff pressures, the frequency of HAP and VAP, and the organisms causing HAP and VAP. HAP is hospital acquired pneumonia and ventilator acquired pneumonia, and usually these are extremely drug resistant organisms like Burkholderia, or it might be Acinetobacter, or some Stenotrophomonas. So you have to know the drugs which are active against these microbes also. And coming to so this was a broad perspective for AIIMS exam, and I will link some links which in the description, which I think will be helpful for which will, like Ghanshyam Vaidya sir's video, so which will be helpful for you to crack the INESET exam. And coming to the NEET exam, we will focus on the vignettes, because they are the most probable questions which will be asked this time. So the approach on how to solve clinical vignettes. So I think that I will tell you my approach. The first step in solving a clinical vignette is to look at the last line of the question. So the last line of the question gives you the information whatever is asked in the question, but this is not the case every time. So after reading the last line of the question, if you were not able to discern what the examiner is asking, just look at the options once. From the options, if you are able to find one odd one out option, एक option जो बहुत ही अटपटा सा लग रहा है, then you can just rule out that option and just see कि तुम्हारा जो question है वो उसी option के आसपास बना हुआ है पूरा question, and you can easily do that question in less than 1 minute. Then there is another, if this approach also fails, all the options are similar, then you read the question stem, and in reading the question stem, these will be almost half of the questions you will have to read the question stem. So in those questions you have to know the keywords. So the keywords you know only by revising more and more. So the syllabus is same, you have to revise more and more, and you have to be quick-witted. You have to think at the speed of light, that what could be the connect between these two things. Like I'll give you an example, like a 10-year-old boy who is suffering from who has the complaints of puffiness around the eyes, and followed by which he developed generalized body edema. And there was on examination he had urine examination he had nephrotic grain proteinuria, and the patient also had cervical lymphadenopathy, and the patient in this age group is most likely to have a minimal change disease. So the question might also give an explanation on the renal biopsy was done, and so and so findings were seen, no immunofluorescence uptake was seen, and light microscopy was normal. So what is your diagnosis? You know it is minimal change disease, but it is not in the options. So in Robbins it is given that one of the causes of minimal change disease is Hodgkin's lymphoma. So Hodgkin's lymphoma, if given in the options, is a probable cause here, that there is cervical lymphadenopathy and there is minimal change disease. So we can, the question, in such questions they might not even give just Hodgkin's lymphoma in the options. They might give some histological picture in the options. Especially AIMS people like to do this, that they give images in the options as well. So there might be an image in the option of some variant of Hodgkin's lymphoma. So that is how the question will be structured. So you have to identify the keywords, like in the way in the approach I told you, and that will help you a lot in solving these questions quickly. These questions are simple, but they consume a lot of time. I think the time will not be an issue this time, but the more keywords a person know, the higher score he will be able to get, and that will be the major differentiator between them and the other people in this NEET exam, what I feel. And apart from that, goes without saying, for NEET you have to, because there is no previous year questions from which they usually ask questions. Yes, you have to do NEET's previous year questions to get an idea about the exam, but they have a holistic approach. They can ask anything from anywhere. So notes are your primary source of preparation. Don't go either searching for new topics. Just do your notes. Try to remember the basic stuff, which are the key pointers for that. For a particular topic like Hodgkin lymphoma and nephrotic syndrome, you should be able to connect instantly. And if you have time, one book I'll suggest. Many people had asked me this question in last video also, that whether they should do first aid or not. So first aid is a book which is quite similar to this approach, because USMLE questions are also long stem questions, and they also use so many keywords. So USMLE के जो first aid book है, that also has so many pointers and these keywords which help you to crack the exam. So for keywords, if you are not able to you think कि मेरे से keywords मुझसे नहीं निकलते हैं, मैं इतने अच्छे से नहीं पढ़ पाता हूँ, then you can refer to first aid. You can go through it with a fast read. It is a very well written book. If you can do it, then it is very beneficial for all the exams you will write. Every exam you write, it will definitely help you get 5 or 10 questions more than you would have done without it. And one last thing I would like to stress is the Harrison Bailey Genong and Robbins. The tables from these tables and images from these standard books. These 4 standard books you have to do. This will only take your 1 week at max, and I suggest you do this as soon as possible, and this will give you so much of confidence that you are able to flip through the pages of the standard book so fast that you are able, or you can even click the pictures in your phone and collect it at one place. And you will be able to do one book in one day. You will have such a great speed because you are just doing the images and tables. It will give you a lot of confidence and it will cover a lot of topic in very short amount of time. So that was my basic idea about how to prepare for the upcoming exams. And the clinical vignettes, if you want to practice you can practice around 500 clinical vignettes just to get you in the mood for exam from UWorld. So UWorld subscription is costly, so you can get the UWorld subscription from UWorld questions from that Telegram app. They have all these PDFs and all, so you can just get an idea about all these questions. You yourself will find that once you are done with 200 long stem questions or 300 long stem questions, automatically your speed increases. I have seen some of the mock tests of some institutes. Like Bhatia's mock tests are really good at replicating the exam, and but others are not so. Others had some very weird topics were asked, or very long stem questions were asked, or long stem questions were not at all asked. So UWorld is a good tool. You can solve 500 questions or 50 questions a day. It will only take you 10 days. So just solving that will give you a good idea about clinical vignettes. You can solve more if you like, but it will keep you interested, give you a good idea about how the exam will be. And trust me, questions can even directly come from UWorld. So at that note, I would like to end my video. So all the best, guys. Hope you crack the exam and come out with flying colors. All the best.